Hi, boys and girls. We're doing lesson 1-5 in math today, and there are a lot of things that we want to go over, and we want to get right into it. And one of the things that I want to share with you first is our Google Classroom and the classwork tab in that Google Classroom. There's a lot of new assignments that popped up today on Wednesday, and I wanted to share with you not only some of those assignments, but also one of these things at the very top that I shared with you yesterday, Tuesday, and it is a set of instructions for installing Kami. And it's going to require a little bit of patience. I noticed that some folks were having easier time than others in class. And for those of you at home, I want you to try your best, and hopefully your parents can help you, or someone can help you too with hopefully getting this to work properly. Now, the Kami instructions are right here, and I realize I have that tab already open, but it's okay. We'll have two documents there. And right at the very top, we have a link, this Kami extension link. And I want you to click that link, and it's going to bring you to the Google Chrome browser extension web store. And I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like really quick. Yet another tab popping up, and I am already going to have mine installed. So it's going to say something different than yours. Right now, it's already installed. So I have removed from Chrome if I want to take it off, but I don't. I want to keep it. So we are going to ignore that part since I've already done that part. Okay. And then we're going to get into the next step where after you click add to Chrome, it's going to ask you whether or not you want to add the extension, and you do. You want to click add extension, and then we're going to go to our classwork, open the assignment, and we're going to find the assignment we want to work on. And the very first one is going to be our math message. And our math message is something that I want everyone to work on, either on a piece of paper or on this in Kami. And so I'm going to click open with Kami, and we're going to give it a second to load. And I'm not going to mark up this document because it's going to be something that you're going to be marking up, but I am going to read it for you. Okay. And I want us to think about one of the easiest and quickest ways for us to decide whether or not the question that we're asking is going to be true or not. So let's get into the question so it makes a little more sense what I was talking about. All right, so finding the number of books. The teachers at Forest View School held a reading contest. All students would receive a free book if they read a combined total of, and I'm going to mark this part up for you, 20,000 books. Boom. By the end of the year. Now, they broke up the year into 4 quarters, 4 parts. First quarter, we have this number of books read by the school. Second quarter, this number read. Third, this number. Fourth, this number. Now, we are not going to work through the solution here, but I want you to do that and then be ready to share it on Thursday with a small group or a partner, whether it's going to be in person or through a breakout room on Thursday. And I want you to think about what would be one of the quickest ways to get an idea about whether or not the students read enough books, whether they read over 20,000 books. And I want you to describe that to your partner, and I want you to work on it together with them a little bit too. Okay? Now, let's get into the next part. So this was our math message. And one of the things that I'm hoping all of you were doing in this math message is estimating. Estimating is Well, what is estimating? It is finding an answer which is close to, I'm going to put this over here for us, close to or approximating the exact answer. You could find the answer to that math message without getting an exact answer. And you could get an answer that would be a way of answering the first question without getting an exact number. All right. And let's look at an example here. Let's estimate for this following question. On Sunday, 463 people were at the lake. On Monday, 226 people were at the lake. And 312 were on there on Tuesday. And it says estimate how many people were in all were at the lake. Now, oops, going the wrong way. Let's try that again. There we go. So think about this question. There's plenty of nice lakes and beaches, and lots of people show up there. And I want you to think about a question like this. I want you to estimate, I want you to try to think about what would be a good approximate answer for this. And how did you go about doing it? And then I also want you to try to solve it for real. So there's going to be 2 steps there, okay? And I want you to be writing down your answer, and I want you to be thinking about how you estimated, what kind of numbers you used, what did you change each one of these numbers into to help you get your answer, okay? And when you're done, I'd like you to then move on with this video. So let's pause for a second here. Let's think about what we're going to be doing for an estimation. And after you're done, then we can continue. Okay, so what did you use? What numbers did you use? Did you do some rounding? We worked on rounding yesterday. What do we have if we round? So rounding, we take each one of these numbers, 463, 226, 312, and we round to the nearest 100. And 463, well, that becomes 500. 226, that becomes 200. And 312, well, that becomes 300. And all of that together, 500 plus 200 plus 300 equals 1,000. Not a bad way to round. Now, I did not share with you the exact answer. I want us to think about that on our own. I want us to compare our rounding estimation with the exact answer. All right. And after we do that, we're then going to think about 2 other ways to estimate. And estimating is all about finding an approximate answer, doing something in a quick way so that we can then get a good sense of, all right, is this our answer? Does this make sense? Because sometimes we don't need to get an exact answer immediately. Sometimes we can find the approximate answer, and that's going to be sufficient for our math thinking. So let's take a look. And we're going to think about this too. What if we had a different question, but with the same exact numbers and the same exact problem? Does that change what we're doing at all? I'm going to put that over there. So same question or same problem, but slightly different question. Let's take a look. Rob, Brian, and Ari need at least 950 popsicles for the school picnic. Rob bought 463, Brian bought 226, and Ari bought 312. Do they have enough popsicles? So, slightly different question, but same type of problem. We need to think about addition of 463, 226, and 312. And is it greater than 950. Now with this previous estimation, our previous estimation was 1,000. Now, what if we estimated in a slightly different way? Would that affect possibly our answer? Let's take a look. So, one of the other methods of estimation is called front-end estimation. Front-end estimation is when we use just the front end of the numbers, the highest value or place value and the digit in that place value. So for example, in this case, 463, we would turn into 400. 226, we would turn into 200. And 312, we would turn into 300. Okay, so 400, 200, and 300. That adds up to 900. So do we see the difference between the front end estimation and the rounding estimation? Rounding estimation changed 463 to 500, rounded up. These other two numbers, they both rounded down, and that changes the value by 100 people. That's pretty significant. Now, what is closer to the exact number? You know that exact number already. You solve for it. I'm not telling you just yet. But we are going to talk about another method. And this method is what we call close to estimation. You look for a number that is close to the value of the original number and is easier to work with. And that's really the biggest idea about any estimation, is that we want to make this easy to work with numbers so that we can come up with something quick to think about as something as a possible or approximate answer, so that when we actually solve for the exact number, we can say, does this answer make sense? Is it close to my estimate, or is it not so close? Should I rework this problem and think about it some more? All right, so we have in close to estimation, it is a little bit fuzzier. We have to look at some of the different examples, and we might say one number works better than the other. But 463, well, a close to number or a friendly number would be 450 for that. 226, 225. They're pretty easy to work with, right? If we're counting by quarters, or like thinking about 25, 50, 75, adding 50 and 25 together, that's pretty easy, right? So 312, nice close number, easy to work with. 300. Now, that gives us 975. So we have three different estimates and three different approximate answers. 975, 900, and back here we have 1,000. One of them is pretty close to the exact answer. The other two, they're sort of close, but they give us a good idea about where the answer should fall. Okay, and that is what we're going to be discussing today in lesson 1-5, not 7-5. I need to fix that number. But yes, lesson 1-5 in estimation. All right, so I am going to share with you also our journal page, and we are going to be working on these journal pages with partners on Thursday. So I do not want you to do too much on that journal page until you're working with the partner. Okay, so save those journal pages. I might actually change the scheduling on it. I might actually release it Thursday morning rather than Wednesday morning for those of you who don't have the books. But I'd like you to save those books for working with a partner on Thursday. Okay, so this is going to look something like this. And it does involve a fair amount of writing, but I want you to actually discuss it with a person um, on Thursday, and that might be what we do instead, or at least have a discussion about what we could say together. Okay, so we have a couple questions there. They're pretty lengthy, and that's why we're going to be working with partners on Thursday. And it also will allow us to have a discussion about the math and really get into conversation about it. Okay, so that is that. I hope that this is um, something that we can use, Cami, for example, and I think we're going to do great with estimation. All right. Have a good one.